Welcome to the Foundry. I'm Josh Watson.
I'm Michael Whitfield.
Like a lot of successful people, like a lot of people you remember throughout history were tortured souls when you learn about them, right? Because it was just like, if I want to keep my hands moving, my mind busy, those thoughts can't catch up with me.
Sadness won't come from me,
Exactly. You know, keep those negative thoughts away by keeping my mind preoccupied on something else. So I think human beings will find a way to be depressed about things. But then you think about what's going to do, right? Because if you have more idle time and you're not working, people are going to be more depressed. But there's a new business, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like helping people stay busy, right? I mean, that becomes people are already doing that right now. If they have more idle time than they had in the past, because they're not working 60, 80 hours a week. And so we have a lot of people spending a lot more money on experiences now instead of on things, right?
True.
Like, I want to go on these vacations or go do escape room or go do 5Ks or whatever.
How about virtual reality?
Right, another form of escapism basically is and that's another thing. That's a whole other thing.
That's a very good point, yeah.
That's a whole other angle.
Because that's like...
And that's a good angle for AI too. You know?
Well, imagine that world where things just suck so much, the way you just keep busy is you go in the virtual world and just hang out there.
Things don't have to suck to go there, but there's not dragons here. I can't do magic here. So, yeah. Count me in.
But if it was like the world where it's like, oh, the world out here is just like depressing, you know what I mean? And so we're just gonna sit inside and put our VR, wake up in the morning, put your VR thing on and just sit there and eat Cheetos all day.
Well, how about this for a twist, like a Twilight Zone twist? Utopia is really today. Because people are going to go to the VR and go back to this time.
That's what I was just going to say. Yes.
Wouldn't that be
they kind of they get so bored with life, right? It's like, I can't find a job, I can't find anything to do. I'm going to go work in an office in the VR set.
That's what I
You know what I mean?
That would be
It's like Minecraft. These people get down and they want to build stuff, Like, what kind of game is that?
It's like remember Simpsons, they had virtual yard work, remember that? Like Bart and Lisa didn't want to do the yard work, and come up with to do yard work, they wouldn't do it. And then there was some kind of show they wanted to go to, like some kind of expo, and they went, and in that they're like, ooh, virtual yard work, and they started doing the virtual yard work. She's like, it'll be like
so
that.
True.
Like, oh, we don't want to do real work, but I'll happily. Well, it's like Farmville, right? Like,
exactly.
Remember in Farmville? It's like, give me a straight, no one wants to really farm. But everyone's happy to sit there and oh, I'm growing my strawberries.
Right.
My wife used to be all about that. She'd always be like, we gotta get home. My strawberries are gonna die. And I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to you.
Strawberries.
Right. They're gonna die if I don't pick them right now.
Well, it's a good thing you can't eat them either way, so.
Right. Well, that's the thing, but you think about that's one of the things that human beings oh, I don't want to really farm. But I'll virtually farm all day long.
It's like if we're willing to do work, but we want the easier form of the work. We really want the gratification of work.
We want the gratification of achievement without the sacrifice of actually doing the work.
Right. There has to be some middle ground, because you would just go to doing drugs then, right? If you just wanted instant gratification, you don't want to work at all, just do drugs all day, right? But this is like games are like a midway for it, because you got to work a little bit,
Right.
So.
But even then, I can never get into gaming. I know you like gaming, but I've never been able to get into it.
Rocket League. Woo!
Because when
When
I was a kid, I couldn't get into it either because I'd beat a game and then it'd be like, you won. Here's the fake little screen that shows you won, and I'd be like, I got no, I gained nothing from that, you know what I mean? And that was always my thing with playing games. I was like, I'd rather be making something that had a tangible, something I could hold in my hand.
All that code?
Right. Well, the money comes in and I can hold it and do this.
Oh, do you?
Okay. Yeah. I take it out, I get naked and throw it on a kiddie pool and roll around in it. It's called Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. So I know which day I'm not coming into the office.
Like, Michelle, get my pool.
It's Money Monday. We all get our paychecks on Friday, and then we all fill the pool up, and then we go swimming for a bit.
So that's the thing. Some people I think are driven by needing a tangible feedback. I'm a person who needs a tangible feedback. You know what I mean? Versus some people just I think the people who enjoy the ride and those who enjoy the feedback. And I'm not an enjoy the ride kind of person. I hate to say it. I like having a benefit for my labor. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, okay, I got to get something back from this for it to be. Now, I will admit, like that's gone down a lot because like running a company's like satisfied that craving for me a lot, and so I don't have it as much as I used to. But it used to be like, okay, this isn't working towards my ultimate goal of founding a company and doing my ultimate dream of having my own business. You know what I mean? It used to be like, then that's not something I have any interest in doing.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Anyways, okay, so human beings are either going to be laying around super happy, or laying around super depressed, or in a virtual world where they can try to find purpose outside of reality.
I think like a lot, like over drug use will become very common at first.
Yeah, because you think about like people's like dopamine receptors are there to like react to like stimuli, right? If you're not stimulating them like through work and giving awards and stuff like that, how do they stimulate those little dopamine receptors to make themselves feel happy, right? Are we all just basically drugged up and lying around playing video games?
I mean, I think that
stimulate reality.
I mean, I think that's like innately built into any like creature that has like kind of feedback system. You know what I mean? Like humans, the pinnacle of civilization was alcohol. You know what I mean? That's why we started grouping together and working together. So we could make it.
Right.
Like, I just feel like at least at the beginning, humans are gonna go, because I know so many people. The only thing keeping them from waking up and getting stoned immediately is that they have to go to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I don't know. Yeah. Scout's honor.
So basically people are going to be on drugs all the time, playing video games, because that's humans need to be happy and they won't get there by just laying around achieving nothing. So let's talk about the other possibility then, right? Like the other possibility is that humans just find new things to do, right? Like we're not all laying around being a bunch of bums. Like we do what we did during the last
Manifest
time.
destiny, man.
What's manifest destiny?
Yeah. Go to space.
Go to space? Well,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Like it just becomes a whole new set of problems
Exactly.
you decide to solve. They go, okay, look, we figured out food. We figured out abundance for goods. I mean, you get the same thing. Like remember on Star Trek? Remember they had the machine that could just give you anything you wanted, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was just like, oh, I want this, and there it was. And they still all had jobs, and they all still worked on different things.
They were trying to find gold pressed platinum. It's one thing you can't replicate. That's why it was used as currency still.
Well, that's kind of the point.
Pressed platinum.
What?
So the Ferengis always said it.
Yeah.
We're like 3 bars of gold pressed platinum. I always loved that. Profits? Yes. Anyways, you don't have the lobes for that, Josh.
Almost. Anyway, what's the thing, right? Is they had abundance. They were in a world of abundance, and they still work because they just worked on higher endeavors. Now, right? Let's go travel through space. And
Well, they become a society based on merit, and what you achieve is I mean, no amount of money is worth anything. It's really just that you have achieved these sets of things.
Right. So your life becomes, instead of being the opposite, where your life is basically pointless, it becomes all about the actual achievement, but achievement being more than just the consumption of goods.
Because people see nowadays, like, oh, if I hit the lottery, why do I have to work anymore? I don't have to do anything anymore. I have money. There is nothing else left to do.
Right.
But that's not how it is. That's not what life is about.
Right. You don't feel happier just because you're rich. I mean, that's something that I had to learn, early on. But that I was always like, oh, once I get out of being broke, I'm gonna be happy. So once I reach the middle class, I was like, okay, once I reach the upper middle class, I'm not still have to worry about big expenses and stuff. I'm gonna be happy. And then I got there, and I was like, okay, now once I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? It's like there's always one more level up. And I think you talk to people like Bill Gates, and he'll even say there's a certain level at which the food tastes no better. Nothing makes you any happier. Because it's just no matter how much consumption you do, you're never happier. So really, this kind of goes back to how human beings think about happiness, because they're always associate the more money I have, the happier. That's like GDP. You know why we use GDP to measure our country? It's because really what matters is net happiness of the constituency. 'Cause that's supposed to be the goal of government, is to make the constituency happy in democracy. But we couldn't figure out a really good, objective way to measure happiness. And so we decided we'll just measure it on the number of dollars everyone has. And that's how we measure happiness in this country.
That really points at the way that we think about things. It's pretty indicative. Interesting.
Right, as a country, that's what we've agreed upon, that happiness equals the amount of money per capita. But like I said, I found that the more, I'm obviously I'm not super wealthy or anything, but the more I've gotten, it's not had, there's a certain amount that your stress goes down a lot. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, I'm going to be able to pay the bills and stuff. But it never truly makes you happy. is that humans are ultimately reach that level where, like, okay, we're actually going to work seriously on self-actualization. You know what I mean? Like, try to figure out how to really be happy. You know,
I feel like that's something they really touch on a lot in Star Trek, you know, because it's like they have replicators, they have everything, and you know, it's always about like the Q. You know, you don't remember Star Trek that much.
I do.
Oh, you do remember? Okay. So the Q, like they came at the humans like, dang, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so they're judging. Q is judging the humans, and they're like, you know, we've changed in this period of time,
right.
And it really does just take us as a society hitting a point where that becomes paramount, and people realize that money isn't. But like we are so like consumed by that thought, and that convinced by that thought that people don't even think about sitting down and meditating or something like that. You know what I mean? Because they just need to raise their money, and they will get there.
Well, think about how badly adapted we are for this world. Right, like, because we were really the years we were adapted for a world where we were going to be eaten, and we had to like hunt for food, and you had to take in a lot of calories so you could survive because you didn't know when you're going to eat again, right? So in this world, you know, a couple hundred years later, after that's no longer a problem, we're all fat because we want to consume as many calories as possible because our brains are wired that way because it makes a survival mechanism. But we're not running all day anymore, and so we're all getting fat. And then, you know, what happens when you know, humans they still feel constant stress and worry is because, like, okay, like, is the lion going to jump out and eat me tomorrow, right? Like, that's how their brains evolve. Like, I got to constantly be on the lookout for something's going to kill me. And then it's like, oh, nothing's going to eat me anymore. So now I'm just thinking about the next thing that could possibly go wrong and worry myself about things that are probably never going to happen. You know what I mean? But people do, because like their brain, like we're not fit for a world where we have abundance. We're fit for a world of scarcity, right? Like,
that's why we evolved to survive.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like we're built for scarcity. We're not built for abundance. And like we're here in like this middle abundance zone right now, where some things are abundant, but some things are still scarce.
Yeah.
And even that we're poorly fit for.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a reality where there is true abundance thanks to automation and stuff? Where, I mean, how humans fit that?
Yeah. I mean, I should hope that the reason that we kind of ultra focus towards certain parts of that, like let's just consume as much food as possible, drink as much alcohol as possible, it's because we have other parts of our lives that are scarce still. You know what I mean? So I should hope that once we have seen that, you know, we have the time to interact with our family and love each other and eat as much food and drink as much drink as well, that it doesn't become so focused on the eating and the drinking and getting the money. It's just you begin to see that the whole picture kind of has to be together, you know.
That could kind of be Utopia, you know.
Well, that's it. I mean, but you got to think about human nature. Like, I think
we are broken.
Yeah,
Yes,
we are innately broken.
Deeply
You are
flawed
right.
creatures. Yeah, I mean, I think I think nothing would make human beings more miserable than Utopia, in my opinion.
I can see that.
I think nothing would make people more miserable
We just
than
wanna
being in
find
a
a
world where
peace
they, you know, where they're built for scarcity. It's like unnatural. You know what I mean? To have abundance. And so I think like most people.
Lambs to the slaughter.
Lambs to the slaughter! Lambs to the slaughter! The world's a lie! Yeah.
What's that from?
Rick and Morty.
True level.
It's so
For the record,
great.
I've never seen Rick and Morty.
But that's it. And so, I mean, you reach a world of true abundance. I mean, it's almost worse than the reality where like we're all jobless and broke and everyone's like, you know, Mad Max. You know what I mean? Like that Mad Max world looks like you're out there every day trying to make something happen and you have some goal. You know, because at least you're not. I mean, I don't know.
It's living in the moment. You know what I mean? Because you like at any point in time, someone could just come and kill you. You know what I mean?
But the thing, are you? I mean, if it's really rough, then you're down there that low level of the pyramid again. But at least you're where like human beings are fit for. You know what I mean?
I think there's an awareness of the other levels at where we're at now. We have an awareness that there are people out there that are happy. You know what I mean? And that Mad Max world, nobody is. So it's all relativity too.
Well, I think,
you know
but
what I mean?
You know, that's the thing. Like, I think there's only ever time for like existential angst and meaninglessness and depression. You know,
When you have
those kind of
free
things.
time. Yeah.
When you have time to really think about that.
Yeah.
If you're just always like in survival mode, you know what I mean? You're not thinking about that, and you're
I
not
wasn't saying
happy,
that
but
they're
you're more
happy.
fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bliss. It's a
Ignorance is bliss.
right, a blissful ignorance. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
but is that which one is better, blissful ignorance or depressed, you know, knowledge? Right.
right.
I mean,
I would say that
knowing
most
the reality
people,
is meaningless for you, because you can't achieve anything and everything's already been done or can be done, and you can't make any kind of real dent in the universe.
Yeah.
That world, or the world where today I fed my kids, you know what I mean, and I provided for people, and I went out every day, and I made an impact in somebody's life. You know what I mean? Like I made something different for my kid. That world's darker, but man, is it better for some people?
I think it's a grass is greener type of thing, though. You know,
like if you have it one way, it's always like people like
it's giving options. As soon as you have options, you can question. As soon as you can question, you can think that you have the shitty end of the deal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's like the grass. It's like the hipster thing, right? Like the old way is the better way. You know what I mean? It's like no, the reason we do it the way we do it now.
Why don't you get out your typewriter? Tell me, type out your synopsis here, and let me know how you feel.
Exactly. Because everyone's like, oh, the old way of doing things. That's because the grass is greener. The old way, it's like, oh, we do it this way. Well, it's better the old way. Every way has its plus and minuses.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, so I think human beings in a world where AI and automation is taken over, I almost feel like the rebellion would be to them simply to find new things to do. Like you say, like Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like, okay, fine. Well, human beings now have more time and energy to dedicate towards solving harder problems. Let's, we can solve cancer now. You know what I mean? We can go to space and we can do the things that before we didn't have time to do because our brightest and best minds were just trying to, they went to finance because that was where the money was. You know what I mean? Like, they're not solving the big problems of the day, they're solving the ones that make them the most money because it's a consumption-based world. And so what happens when you take your brightest and best mind and then you're like, hey, you have time to actually solve real problems now.
Right.
Maybe that's where we're heading.
That's a good point. I like that. That sounds nice.
Well, then I think we'll end it on that, and that's the best one.
When Mike's happy.
When Mike's happy. We'll end it on the point where basically where we're going is human beings just finding a higher purpose. We're not laying around all day,
super high,
playing on VR, getting high, watching VR. We're not going to live in like endless college period, basically. We're going to go and solve bigger problems, which is, I mean, in my opinion, what's going to happen. Because that's what we always did. That's what we're doing right now. I mean, that's what we did every time problems came, every time we killed an industry or automation took over, we just simply moved on to the next biggest problem, right? I mean, imagine 20 years ago, someone being like, oh yeah, I'm dedicating time to solving cancer, you know what I mean, or research,
Crazy.
Those things you can do because of abundance, you know what I mean? I mean, the thing when you have even more abundance, think about other kind of problems you can work on solving. Morning breath, I mean, things like that. Even smaller problems people don't care about. So, I mean...
This guy ate cereal this morning.
Well, anyways, so I think that's probably where we'll end this video.
Tune in next time for another episode of The Foundry.
Subscribe.